In this video, we'll discuss square engine motorcycles, 12-cylinder, 48-cylinder, rotary engines, upside-down engine motorcycles, and more. Let's start with split single engine. In internal combustion engines, a split single design is a type of two-stroke where two cylinders share a single combustion chamber. However, some engines use two combustion chambers that are 4 cylinders or more. The first production split single engine was built in 1918 and was used on several motorcycles and cars until the mid-1950s. The advantage of the split single engine compared to a conventional two-stroke engine is that the split single can give better exhaust scavenging while minimizing the loss of fresh air fuel charge through the exhaust port. Consequently, a split single engine can deliver better economy and may run better at small throttle openings. A disadvantage of the split single is that, for only a marginal improvement over a single-cylinder engine, a split single engine is larger, heavier, and more expensive. Motorcycle with a split single engine. EMC motorcycles in the United Kingdom manufactured a 350cc split single engine, used in the EMC 350. Triumphwerke Nürnberg, TWN, in Germany began production of split single engines for their motorcycles in 1946. The 250cc TWN BDG 250, produced from 1946 to 1957, used a Y-shaped connecting rod, so the pistons are side by side, making the engine a little different visually from a regular two-stroke. Other split single models from TWN were the TWN Cornet, TWN Boss, and the Contessa Scooter. Square 4 engine. The Square 4 is a motorcycle produced by Ariel between 1931 and 1959, designed by Edward Turner, who devised the Square 4 engine in 1928. In its original form, it started at 500 cubic centimeters and was quickly expanded to 601 cubic centimeters. The Square 4 was essentially two two-cylinder engines, each with traverse, cross-the-frame, crankshafts that were geared together. They shared a common cylinder block and removable head. These early bikes, designated Model 4F, used overhead cams and ran from 1931 to 1936. The 1000cc four-cylinder was a slow-revving, torquey engine meant for cruising over long distances and low RPM or tugging a sidecar. The one-piece iron cylinder block had all 4 cylinders arranged in a square pattern with a one-piece removable cylinder head. It was all fed by a single SU MC2 carburetor, and each bank of cylinders, left and right, shared a common exhaust manifold exiting with one pipe per side. This arrangement doesn't make for excellent airflow, but this wasn't a racer, this was a cruiser. The Square 4 underwent a significant revision in 1953, with a new cylinder head and manifolds, prompting a new submodel designation as Mark II. Before 1953, both cylinders on each side shared just one exhaust pipe, hence the nickname given as two pipes. But new intake and exhaust manifolds and the new head gave each cylinder its exhaust pipe, hence the term 4 pipes bike. Another Square 4 model is the Suzuki RG500, a Japanese road racing motorcycle manufactured by Suzuki and designed by Makoto Hayes, using the proven Square 4 two-stroke engine architecture that Suzuki developed during its successful Grand Prix racing program in the 1960s. H4 engine. An H engine is a piston engine containing 2 separate flat engines with a separate crankshaft, most often geared to a common output shaft. The name H engine is due to the engine blocks resembling the letter H when viewed from the front. The Brough Superior Golden Dream motorcycle was first shown in 1938. A 1000cc H4 design and a few units were produced in early 1939. Wohler built a motorcycle prototype with a similar configuration to the Brough Superior Golden Dream and exhibited it at the British International Motor Show at Earl's Court Exhibition Centre in 1948. A flat 4-engine prototype replaced it later. V12 cylinder engine bike. A V12 engine is a 12-cylinder piston engine where two banks of 6 cylinders are arranged in a V configuration around a common crankshaft. Each bank of a V12 engine essentially functions as a straight-six engine, which by itself has perfect primary and secondary engine balance. By using the correct V-angle, a V12 engine can therefore have a perfect balance. The even firing order for a 4-stroke V12 engine has an interval of 60 degrees. Therefore, a V12 engine can be perfectly balanced only if a V-angle of 60 degrees is used. The drawbacks of V12 engines include extra cost, complexity, friction losses, and external size and weight compared with engines containing fewer cylinders. The Big Toe is a motorcycle that once held the Guinness World Record in the category of the tallest rideable motorcycle, bearing a maximum height of 7.5 feet and a top speed of 62 miles per hour, and it weighs 3,600 pounds. Tom Wiberg, from Sweden, built it in 1998 with a Jaguar V12 engine. Another motorcycle that uses 12 cylinders is Honda CBX V12 by Andreas Georgades. Chuck Beck's custom motorcycle built with a Lamborghini V12 engine made it to 3-speed gearbox and could reach a top speed of 140 miles per hour. .48-cylinder engine. Simon Whitlock, the famous motorcycling madman, has surprised the world by creating an unbelievable 48-cylinder Kawasaki bike. This insane bike is definitely beyond every bike enthusiast's wildest imagination. It is based on the 2 strokes of Kawasaki triples, which Simon is a fanatic about. This creation is cobbled together from a series of engines pulled from Kawasaki S1 KH250S and boasts a total displacement of 4,200 cubic centimeters. All these inline-8 engines come with their crankshaft, are tied together with gears, and run through a BMW transmission. The engine uses 6 Jaguar E-type distributors while a 75cc pony motor sits under the seat as a starter. Upside-down engine. Italian designer Daniele Sabatini of Nembo Motociclette has designed a 1814 cubic centimeters 3-cylinder engine unique to motorcycles because it is upside down. It looks strange, but this is the way it was designed. Husaberg made news when they turned their engine upside down on the FE450 cross-country bike, but Sabatini went the whole hog. The bike has 150 kilowatts of power and 210 Newton-meters of torque and weighs just 160 kilograms. The Super 32 Revecchio engine uses 2 valves per cylinder and is air-cooled. By turning the engine upside down, Sabatini can use the crankcases as a chassis component and get the air-cooled cylinders down into the unimpeded airstream of the engine, gets the crankcase to act as a chassis component. Nembo 32 motorcycle. This motorcycle not only has an upside-down engine but a tank and fairing that tilt back to reveal the tank, airbox, and the bottom of the engine. Its most striking feature is its inverted engine, with the head-down cylinders and the crankshaft up top. This quirky layout was designed to concentrate the bike's mass within a very tight area, the team judging that a low center of gravity wasn't necessary, the mass only needs to be condensed into the smallest space possible. The massive 1995 cubic centimeters, 3-cylinder mill engine is rated at 200 horsepower and 158 pound-per-foot of torque for a dry weight of 352 pound. Above the inverted engine, a familiar cafe racer silhouette with a slightly elongated swing arm. The forced engine motorcycles. Forced induction in motorcycles is the application of forced induction, such as turbochargers or superchargers, to a motorcycle engine. Exceptional automotive engineering and human factors considerations are needed for applying forced induction with motorcycles. Turbochargers are common on cars, but pretty rare on motorcycles. Before the late 2010s, forced induction was only used on a handful of production motorcycles, all from Japanese big four manufacturers in the early 1980s. Yamaha tried it with the XJ650, Honda with the CX500 and CX650, Suzuki 1983XN85 Turbo, and Kawasaki with the GPZ750. Honda's CX650 Turbo had a 674cc, 100 bhp V12 engine. It is contestably the best forced induction production bike of the 1980s from any Japanese manufacturer. The 1983 model Honda CX650 turbos solved the lag problems earlier models like the CX500 Turbo had encountered. Additionally, in 1978, Kawasaki offered the Z1 or TC, a semi-production model built by Turbo Cycle Corporation and sold through Kawasaki dealers. This is generally considered to be the first Japanese turbocharged motorcycle. A scooter with a supercharger, the Peugeot JetForce compressor, was available in late 2003. The Kawasaki Ninja H2 is a supercharged supersport class motorcycle in the Ninja Sports Bike series manufactured by Kawasaki, featuring a variable speed centrifugal supercharger. Its namesake is the 750 cubic centimeters Kawasaki H2 Mach 4, an inline triple introduced by Kawasaki in 1972 to disrupt what it saw as a sleeping motorcycle market. Its Ninja H2 or track-only variant is the fastest and most powerful production motorcycle, producing a maximum of 310 horsepower and 326 horsepower with ram air. Diesel engine bikes. A diesel motorcycle is a motorcycle with a diesel engine. Only minimal numbers of diesel engine motorcycles have ever been built. The improved fuel efficiency is offset by the increased weight, reduced acceleration, and potential difficulty starting, at least in colder climates. Because diesel engines have multiple large ratio transmission gears, they need much more space to operate. This makes a motorcycle chassis unsuitable to support a transmission that a standard diesel engine would require. Sommer Diesel 462. It is powered by Bavarian Hatz diesel. The Sommer diesel motorcycle is assembled by hand in small batches in Epstein. Royal Enfield of India may supply some components of the wheels and gears. Neender Turbo Diesel. The Neender uses a parallel twin-cylinder turbo diesel engine with two meshed counter-rotating crankshafts, which the manufacturer claims to remove engine vibrations. Royal Enfield Taurus. Royal Enfield in India was the only manufacturer that had built a diesel motorcycle in mass production in the 1980s. The Royal Enfield Taurus was the highest-selling diesel motorcycle in the entire world. Hero Motocorp RNT. The Hero RNT looks like a blend between a bike and a scooter. The Hero RNT gets power from a 150 cubic centimeters diesel engine capable of churning out 13.5 brake horsepower of peak power and 35 Newton meters of peak torque. Power is sent to the rear wheels via a 6-speed constant mesh sequential gearbox. Suraj 325cc diesel. Suraj Automobiles of Saharanpur was the only company to build and supply diesel motorcycles in India, other than Royal Enfield. Triumph Tiger 900, Ducati Monster 1100 Evo Diesel, and Honda XR 1500R motorcycles are also powered by diesel engine. Wankel Engine. In Britain, Norton Motorcycles developed a Wankel rotary engine for motorcycles based on the Sachs air-cooled rotor Wankel that powered the DKW or Hercules W2000 motorcycle. This two-rotor engine was used in the Commander and F1. Norton improved on Sachs's air cooling, introducing a plenum chamber. Suzuki also made a production motorcycle powered by a Wankel engine, the RE5, using ferrotech alloy apex seals and an NSU rotor, successfully attempting to prolong the engine's life. Radial engine. The radial engine is a reciprocating type internal combustion engine in which the cylinders radiate outward from a central crankcase. C.M. Manley constructed a water-cooled 5-cylinder radial engine in 1901, which produces 52 horsepower at 950 rpm. The pistons are connected to the crankshaft with a master and articulating rod assembly. One piston, the uppermost one, has a master rod with a direct attachment to the crankshaft. The remaining pistons pin their connecting rods attachments to rings around the edge of the master rod. Extra rows of radial cylinders can be added to increase the engine's capacity without adding to its diameter. 4-stroke radials have an odd number of cylinders per row, so a consistent every other piston firing order can be maintained, providing smooth operation. For example, on a 5-cylinder engine, the firing order is 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, and back to cylinder 1. Moreover, this always leaves a 1-piston gap between the piston on its combustion stroke and the piston on compression. The active stroke directly helps compress the next cylinder to fire, making the motion more uniform. JRL Cycles Lucky 7. It is the first production motorcycle that uses a custom-designed frame with monoshock rear suspension and Roger Gotthammer forks up front. Braking is accomplished with single discs front and back, and power from the engine is sent back through a 6-speed gearbox to the 300mm rear tire. For a brief time, the JRL Cycles Lucky 7 was the only radial engine production motorcycle in the world. The unusual machine is powered by an Australian-designed and built 7-cylinder radial aircraft engine with a swept capacity of 2,800 cubic centimeters and a power output of 110 horsepower and 160 foot-pound of torque. Turbine motorcycle. A gas turbine, also called a combustion turbine, is a continuous flow internal combustion engine. The basic operation of the gas turbine is a Brayton cycle with air as the working fluid. The atmospheric air flows through the compressor that brings it to higher pressure. Energy is then added by spraying fuel into the air and igniting it so that the combustion generates a high-temperature flow. This high-temperature pressurized gas enters a turbine, producing a shaft work output in the process, used to drive the compressor. The unused energy comes out in the exhaust gases that can be repurposed for external work, such as directly producing thrust in a turbojet engine. The independent turbine, known as a power turbine, that can be connected to a fan, propeller, or electrical generator. Mad Max Street Fighter. The Mad Max Street Fighter is one of the fastest motorcycle in the world. This motorcycle can produce an estimated 542 peak horsepower with a torque of at least 450 foot-pound, 610 Newton-meters, at maximum RPM. The performance numbers aren't 100% accurate because the motorcycle proved too brutal for anyone to handle. MTT Turbine Superbike. The MTT Y2K turbine motorcycle, also known as the Y2K Turbine Superbike, is an American motorcycle powered by a turboshaft engine, made by Marine Turbine Technologies. The bikes are not mass-produced in continuous series. Each unique bike is handmade to order after receiving the buyer's specifications. Early models were powered by a Rolls-Royce Allison Model 250C18 gas turbine producing a claimed 320 horsepower, 240 kilowatts, at 52,000 rpm. Unlike some turbojet-powered motorcycles, which rely on jet propulsion for thrust, the Y2K Superbike's turboshaft engine drives the rear wheel via a 2-speed gearbox, chain, and sprocket. Rotary Radial Engine. A rotary engine is an internal combustion engine that separates an engine's four jobs: intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust into four individual parts within the overall engine housing. The rotor moves from chamber to chamber, expanding and contracting gas. Although rotary engines were mostly used in aircraft, a few cars and motorcycles were built with rotary engines. The first motorcycle with a rotary radial engine was the Millet motorcycle of 1892. A famous motorcycle, winning many races, was the Magola, which had a rotary engine inside the front wheel. Another motorcycle with a rotary engine was Charles Redrup's 1912 Redrup Radial, a three-cylinder 303 cubic centimeters rotary engine fitted to several motorcycles by Redrup. Oval piston. The Honda NR was a V4 motorcycle series started by Honda in 1979 with the 500 cubic centimeters NR 500 Grand Prix racer that used oval pistons. This was followed during the 1980s by a 750 cubic centimeters endurance racer version known as the NR 750. Whereas the NR 500 had used an oval piston with straight sides, the road-going NR 750 used an elliptical piston with curved long sides. The oval piston concept allowed for 8 valves per cylinder, which generated more power due to the increased air or fuel mixture and throughout compression. Hydrogen motorcycle. What you are looking at here is quite a remarkable motorcycle, regardless of whatever views you may have on alternative fuel, since the Segway Apex H2 comes with a powertrain fueled by both electricity and hydrogen. This hydrogen-powered motorcycle able to achieve 93 miles per hour top speed and a 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint in just 4 seconds. The Segway will hit the market first in 2023 with the Apex H2. Suzuki, for instance, has already been working with a fuel Bergman cell scooter as well as in its cross-cage concept. Honda has also stated that it is exploring H2 in two-wheeled vehicles. In fact, it has already applied for a patent, which shows a fuel cell vehicle with its H2 tank placed under the seat. X-Idea presented the company's latest concept motorcycle at the 19th China International Motorcycle. The X-Cell is powered by hydrogen fuel cells and will be fitted with 4 hydrogen storage tanks in the front. So that's it, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen the first part of this video, click here and watch it.